metaphor. You're adding and fertilizing seeds, and you don't know whether they will sprout or not, but you can't afford to neglect them and not to water them. And so there are all kinds of online teaching tools. There are people who are teaching in Afghanistan secretly. There are some who are managing to teach not so secretly to Taliban. And those things will probably ebb and flow, and they will be individual programs. Those are terribly important to continue. There will be lots of individual initiatives, I believe. And the other thing is just that it will be terribly important in the United States to keep alive some consciousness of Afghanistan. And that's going to be hard. We're very good at turning our back. We're already doing it. I was in Texas a couple of months ago, and we had a bunch of us, the subject was about Afghanistan. We had a big community dinner, probably 200 people there, and a kind of a free-for-all question period afterwards where there were several colleagues, and they could ask kind of anything. But what struck me was, 250 people, I did not get one single question on Afghanistan. We had a lot of questions on Ukraine, various other aspects of international relations, but not one single one on Afghanistan. If Americans aren't dying, it goes out of our consciousness pretty fast. That's the way it is. So keeping alive some sense of connection to Afghanistan is going to take some work. I think we should do it because I think, personally, I think we have a moral debt to a great many people who, not for selfish reasons, but who accepted what we spent 20 years teaching and talking about in terms of democracy and participation in women's rights and other things. They're not like us, but they accepted them on their own terms. And we helped them get there, and then we dropped them. So I think there is a moral debt, even if you believe that getting out was the correct policy, which one can have a professional view of. But we have a moral debt. We have a particular debt, of course, to a great many people who even qualified for visas who we left behind. That's thousands. And then there are all the other people who worked with us who don't fit in our neat visa category because they weren't employed by us directly. But, there were honest prosecutors, and there were honest judges. They sent people to prison, and those people were all out of prison and looking to settle their scores. I think we owe something to those kind of people, and the women journalists and news reporters and military and police. So we owe debts which we may have no interest in paying. We also have another connection, though, of the thousands of Americans who served in Afghanistan. That's very different from any time before. And a great many of those people have remained connected to people they served with, and you saw that in the outpouring of effort by so many groups, particularly veterans, to bring people here. So we have a lot of pieces to work with to maintain some form of awareness of the need to be active in Afghanistan. But we also have a national trait of rapid amnesia that will require us to counterbalance it. So the active efforts here, the exchanges, the bringing people here, the education, I think these are all vital, vital efforts. And all I can do is wish you the next 40 or 50 years of success in the center. Thank you very much.
What a great program. It was so nice to give a little bit of the history of the center to hear from our wonderful colleagues. Thank you so much, Dr. Schroeder. Thank you, Shojan, Director of the center. And thank you, Ambassador Ron Neumann, for your reflections and remarks and for being such a good friend to our university and our center. This concludes this particular event. I would encourage you to wave, shout out to my colleague Amy in the back to check out the wonderful display that she's brought over here to kind of showcase some of our archives. I want to thank everybody that made this possible, and thank you all for joining us. And was there anything else you needed me to mention? Okay. I did want to mention there's those of you who RSVP'd and will be part of the luncheon. It's just around the corner. But there's a few minutes here for us to take a quick break and maybe if anybody would like to greet some of our wonderful guests here and have a little bit of conversation. I really appreciate all of your work and all of your attendance and interest in this. Thank you so much.
Can I have one minute of your attention, please? Just 1 minute. Two of my wonderful colleagues joined us very late, and I wanna thank them. You remember Bashir John and his wife? You saw in the picture over there. And I have Dr. Burhan, Ismail Burhan, here next to me. Unfortunately, his health condition was not good, but he still made it to place. Thank you very much. And there's a great colleague of mine, Dr. Ward Chambers. Yeah. Ward. Right there. There. Ward did a huge project with us with Kabul Medical University. He did 21 visits to Kabul. 21 visits to Kabul. Part of what's there. And we have Bob Nash. Bob? There you are. Thank you very much. Yes. Before Amy and Chamber took over the Apple collection, Bob Nash led that effort. So thank you very much. Thank you very much, Ronald. Thank you very much for coming here too. Thank you.